So over this video, I'm going to help you align the levels that are shared by OpenAI and the levels that are mentioned in the paper, and why OpenAI says that they are reaching level 2 of the, and why OpenAI seems to be reaching the level 2 of path towards AGI. We will align the levels that OpenAI has mentioned here with the levels that you would see in the paper that we have. So it's trending on Twitter and a lot of users are talking about this. You can see it's trending on number 1 here. It basically says that OpenAI seems to have unveiled map and nears human level AI, and they have introduced like a 5-tier system to track its progress towards achieving artificial general intelligence or AGI. And the levels look like this, right? So there is level 1 that talks about chatbots and AI with conversational logic. Level 2 talks about reasoners, which is very important to achieve AGI. And then human level problem solving. Level 3 is agents, which is systems that can take actions. Level 4 is innovators or AI that can aid in invention. And level 5 is organizations, AI that can do the work of an organization. I'm going to be talking about this paper in a little bit, which kind of talks about the path or progress towards AGI. Now, if we scroll down a bit, you can see there is one more piece of news that this person shared that said, at an all hands meeting this week, OpenAI executives told employees they believe they are nearing level 2 out of 5 on the path to AGI. Now, note it's been a while since OpenAI released anything. It is generally known for OpenAI to drop something huge when a competitor like Claude or Google launches something in Gen AI space, but that didn't happen this time around. So my gut says they're working towards something really, really big and preparing for a huge launch. The other problem could also be that they launched GPT-4o and got in a big problem. The voice of Sky, it seemed, was copied from an actress, Scarlett Johansson, and they got into a big problem because of that. So maybe that is why they've kind of slowed down on their releases. You've not seen too many of hours discussion or office hours discussions. So it seems there's something going on. Now, my question here is that if they were really trying to build AGI, it's not as easy as taking LLMs and then putting the reasoners in here, right? A lot of models currently cannot reason, and if you go to any of the models right now and you say 1 plus 1 is equal to 5, you can see the Claude is going to initially say no, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, but then you can push the model to believe that it's equal to 5. No, it is equal to 5. You're wrong. You can see in this scenario, this is arguing, but initial versions of ChatGPT or GPT-4, you would see the model would just agree with you that 1 plus 1 is equal to 5. So the reasoning standpoint, the models are not too smart, and the fact that this is a simple question, it's still able to give you. But if you give like a geometry question where a lot of reasoning is required correlated with the previous reason or the previous step, the model will fail to justify its answer. So in a recent course that we made on AGI, we spoke about how the levels of AGI would look like, right? So if you look at the levels of AGI here, the initial level would be no general AI or narrow AI. And the next step towards this would be emergent AI. Then there are levels like competent, expert, virtuoso, and then superhuman. All of this we've spoken about in depth in the AGI course, and most of this is also inspired by the presentation that you see on the screen right now. This specifically emphasizes on the levels of AGI for the progress towards the path to AGI. In essence, what AGI is an AI system that is capable of performing most tasks at least as well as humans, if not better. And AGI in essence is like a ultimate goal of a lot of researchers and AI companies like OpenAI today. And this is goal for a lot of other companies as well, like Anthropic and even Google's DeepMind. And specifically, I think they're working on the AlphaFold model, which will potentially be an independent medical research model in the next 2 to 3 years. Now there is a debate, whether current AI systems like large language models or LLMs have reached AGI status. And if you saw the recent podcast by Dwarkesh, so let me just go to that link right now. If you see this podcast, you will get to understand why LLMs will not necessarily need to AGI. So what the paper essentially talks about is these 6 principles towards building an AGI system. Now these 6 principles, if you scroll down and look for specifically principles, you can see distill 6 principles, and let me find. So focus on capabilities, not processes. You can see the majority of the definitions focus on what AGI can accomplish, not on the mechanism by which it accomplishes the task. Effectively, what they're saying is that focus on what you need to achieve with AGI and not what AGI should have. Let's say, for example, it should not be conscious like a human, but it should still be able to do tasks or should be able to or should be capable to do tasks that are possible for humans, and focus on generality and performance. This is a huge point for AGI, is that it should be general in nature. If a model is trained to learn math, just like a human can adapt to different circumstances, the model should be adapt to other subjects as well. Focus on cognitive and metacognitive, but not on physical tasks. So if you look at the Twitter thread here, in the same thread where we're talking about AGI, you can see this person also mentioned, DeepMind robot as the new research on navigation and so on and so forth. The paper says that whether to require robotic embodiment is a criteria for AGI is a matter of some debate. Most definitions focus on cognitive tasks, by which we mean non-physical tasks. So if you expect an AGI system to have a body and perform in lines of how a human body would perform, it would only make the whole system way more complex and would not be a good factor to determine if the system is AGI or not. Focus on potential and not on deployment. Demonstrating that a system can perform a requisite set of tasks at a given level of performance should be sufficient for declaring the system to be an AGI. So if you can get an AGI system to work on your internal ecosystem, then it's still should be considered AGI, rather than focusing on the deployment side of the story and it being in a position where it can serve others as well. And then there are a bunch of different principles, and it also kind of says that they should focus more on the path towards AGI and not at the single endpoint in the journey, right? So they should not think AGI as conscious human form, rather they should think of it as a level of cognition that the model has achieved. So based on this, they scoped out a bunch of different levels for the narrow AI and general AI. So just like we would look at narrow AI in terms of the basic to the advanced, we should also look at AGI on these levels. So if you look at the first level, there is no AI, both for narrow and for general. General AI is what AGI essentially is, by the way. No AI level is where you have a calculator software or a compiler. Now, similarly for general non-AI, you should have human in the loop computing and then Amazon Mechanical Turk. So basic mechanical tasks with the help of AI you're able to achieve. Then emerging narrow AI, meaning basic AI after the first level of the emerging narrow AI was the simple rule-based systems that we use a lot, like chatbots and so on. Similarly, for emerging AGI, ChatGPT should be considered as the first level of AGI. Similarly, Bard, Llama 3 and Gemini and so on and so forth. These are some of the other models that should be considered as the emerging AI. Third is competent AI. In AGI terms, none of these are achieved, right? So we have not achieved the competent AGI or expert AGI, virtuoso AGI and super intelligent AGI or artificial super intelligence. But from the narrow AI standpoint, we've kind of traced the journey of the evolution of narrow AI. Toxicity detectors would be considered as competitive narrow AI. From the expert standpoint, spelling grammar checkers should be considered as expert narrow AI. From the virtuoso standpoint, Deep Blue or AlphaGo should be considered as the futuristic narrow AI, because it performs at least as good as 99th percentile of skilled humans. And then from the superhuman narrow AI standpoint, AlphaFold 3, AlphaZero and all of this should be considered as the superhuman but narrow AI. Similarly, what the paper essentially emphasizes is that it's not going to be a binary if we have AGI or not. It kind of gives you level via which you can track the progress of AGI. Similarly, how we tracked the progress of, say, narrow AI. And I think that's where the alignment of these levels also comes in picture. So level 1 is essentially the ChatGPT or emerging AI. And then level 2 is where the reasoning comes in, which is essentially the competent AGI, at least as skilled as 50th percentile of the skilled human adult. Again, you can go through and read through the paper itself. There are a bunch of different things that talks about risks with the AGI systems, the alignment or misalignment risks and so on and so forth. But I think essentially what OpenAI is trying to do is that they are looking at these levels of AGI and aligning themselves towards the levels towards the paper is kind of talking about. And I think that's going to be all. I hope you guys were able to find some connection with respect to what OpenAI is saying versus what the paper also kind of talks about. And I'll see you guys in the next one.